And I'm like, Diddy, bop. And I'm over here doing my little dance.
And did he sit there?
Yeah, and I'm young as shit, bro. I got hair. I ain't got no hair no more. I got hair. He's there. He's like, yo, Playboy. I remember when Jay walked out with Lenny S to the Maybach. I was standing on the Maybach, and the driver was like, yo, get off the car. And I was like, yo, Jay, my CD. And I laughed, you know what I mean? We go to the studio in LA, and Tory Lanez, I've never seen this, by the way. He might be the most legendary songwriter. We play some music, and he's like, yo, put it in the booth. He goes, he lights a joint, and by the time he finishes the joint, he has written like 30 records.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. Patina Podcast, once again, in the Mecca, here at the Patina Collective Museum. Open now, book your tickets. But today, we have a special guest in the kingdom, our guy, Lex Borrero.
What's up, brother? Yeah. I love how you call this the Mecca of the kingdom. It is.
Facts.
This place is impressive.
Thank you, my brother.
Insane.
So Lex is a man of many trades. He wears many hats. He wears Mercedes hat today to represent his affiliation with the brand. We're going to get into that, but we got to start at the very, very beginning, like we always do. So we're going to start at the beginning and get the full scope of what our guy here does with his lifestyle and how he incorporates all things Benz. So tell us basically how it started. Where were you born? Your upbringing, your early years.
So I'm Colombian. I grew up in Bogota, but I grew up in a time when things weren't right. You know, where not to get into the craziness of Colombia, but the country was going through a hard time, and my mother felt that it was best for us to come to the U.S. So I came to the U.S. like the full definition of an immigrant. Didn't know any English, had to learn. I had to go to East Hall classes, and but I very quickly understood it was either I was going to step up or I was going to get picked on. And so, growing up in Miami, I started to understand urban culture early on. I started to understand, Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson and, rap and what that meant to, the culture of youth. And right away, I was like, man, this is what I need to do. Like the influence level Jordan had on me at that time. And even, Michael Jackson, like, regardless of all the things that had happened in that moment, he was God, man. Like, I'd never forget that moment he pulled off the stage with the jetpack. I was like, oh, I'm in. I'm sold on this guy. And so when I was in high school, I wanted a pair of Jordans, and I really, my mother just didn't have the means to get them for me. And so I started hustling and selling CDs and selling Source magazines, and I would like flip them in school. I would put playlists together. And then one day it hit me. I'm like, why am I selling somebody else's music when I can like start making my own? And so this was a time where like the 5 elements of hip hop was a thing still,
Yeah.
And I saw these kids breakdancing in school or beatboxing, and there was this one kid that was just sick. Shout out to Chris Black, classmate of mine who rapped and beatboxed. And I just approached him. I said, man, why don't we do a song together? I had a Filipina girlfriend that her parents were doctors, so they had bought her like one of the first CD burners.
Okay.
And we went to Office Depot and we burned the CDs. I still have it. I'll share the cover so y'all can put it on the screen. But we put the CD together and one song. That's all we got. We sold the thing in school, made some money.
What were you doing on the song? You're rapping, singing, what were you doing?
I was producing the record.
You were producing?
Yeah, because I always liked music in that way. I was producing the music. We recorded it with the little cheap mic. He rapped. And we put both of our faces. I still have the same number, by the way. Same number that's in the CDs, my number now.
Oh my God. Since high school?
Since high school, bro. Since my beeper number. It's my same number. I've always had it. And long story short, that started the journey of saying, like, I want to be in music.
What year is this? Let's give him paint the picture. So when you were in high school, what year is this? You're born in what year?
I was born in 86.
Okay.
So I'm 40.
All right.
We're talking now, this was high school 2001, 2002.
Okay.
All right, early 2000s, hip hop's at the peak, Everybody's out here with the platinum chains. Things is.
And you're in Miami.
And I'm in Miami.
Wow.
All right, so Trick Daddy's popping, Trina's popping, Slip and Slide is popping.
Correct.
Like, we're on. And that really started my journey. And actually, I got to go to Slip and Slide Records, which was on the beach at the time. And I got to see like a bit of that. I interned at a studio that summer. Okay. And it was in that studio that I started to realize, like, damn, this music thing has a future. And at the time, there was a cover, if I'm not mistaken, it was Russell Simmons, Master P, and Puff on the cover of Source magazine. And it was the first time that I was like, oh, there's money beyond the artist. There's
Right.
like this business thing that I can get into.
Even bigger money.
Even bigger money, because these guys had gold toilets. Everybody remembers that MTV Cribs.
Of
You can
course.
cut into that too. MTV Cribs gold toilet of Master P. Long story short, I tell my mother, look, I want to be a producer. She's a pastor, so she was like, oh, you going to church. I don't know about all this thing you talking about music.
Right.
But she set up she told me, go give it a try. Went to New York City, won a beat battle, and I'm gonna make it a little short. Won a beat battle, moved to New York, was homeless for a year and a half, but I would go to Universal offices every day, and there was a Starbucks on the corner, and I would like sit there and like wait for somebody to come on and get my CD. I remember when Jay walked out with Lenny S to the Maybach. I was standing on the Maybach, and the driver was like, yo, get off the car. And I was like, yo, Jay, my CD. And I laughed, you know what I mean?
Hold up. You can't just...
Yeah.
Hold on, Lenny S told you get off the car?
No.
The driver?
So the driver was the first time I saw a Maybach.
So hold on, we got to paint the picture once again because we go. This is crazy stuff, and we got to talk about it. So this is the era where there's no social media. You never see anybody. So if you see somebody, it's crazy.
It's legendary.
Jay-Z is the biggest ever at this point, right? This is like peak. He's president of Def Jam.
President of Def Jam, just signed Rihanna.
Okay.
He's super mega popping. Dame Dash Rock is in the mess, but Jay's popping.
Okay.
Right, so it's 06.
So to see somebody in this era, let alone Jay-Z, is insane. So you're sitting here for months and months and months, not really seeing anybody you think is that big, and then the biggest shows up.
The biggest
and I
shows
love
up.
how, Patina, the Maybach, the legendary Maybach,
Yeah.
the 6'2", of course, it had to be the 6'2".
Well, of course, the 6'2" was out. I come in.
Right. And so you see the car first, so you're like, that has to be somebody.
Yeah, but I figured it was Jay. I figured I was like, yo, it had to either be Jay or somebody else. So I try to like take pictures of the car because I never seen a Maybach in my life, you know. I try to take a picture. Driver's like, get off the car, and all of a sudden I see Jay with Lenny S and Tatai, and I was like, yo, listen to my CD, Jay. He didn't listen to it. He liked the CD fell. Lenny picked it up though. And then I went to Sony Studios at night, every night, and I would give my beat CD. Long story short, year of doing this, year of being homeless. I was eating McDonald's every day. I was sleeping on the 6 train. I was getting pissed on. Like it was like the real struggle, you know. Shout out to my boy Jay Hatch, who's not with us anymore, but he like let me sleep on his couch, on his floor. And long story short, I was ready to leave home. I called my mom and said, Mom, I need you to book a trip back home. Mm-hmm. She booked me a Spirit Airlines on that Thursday. That Monday, I get a call from a guy named Skid. Shout out to Skid. I'm shouting. I never get a chance to shout out any of these people in my career because I don't even know where they're at anymore.
This is the spot.
But Skid, if you're watching this, shout out to you. So he like puts together this, like I put a beat.
Give me some background. Who is he?
Skid was the A&R at Bad Boy Records.
That makes a big difference. You got to say that.
A&R Bad Boy Records. Remember, I know Puffy's getting all this thing, and I don't want to get into that.
That's new.
But I'm just saying that this
Puff was a legend.
Puff was legendary.
It is what it is.
And Daddy House Studios was legendary.
Right, of course.
So I go to Daddy House Studios. Skid calls me, tells me, yo, I heard your CD last night. Why don't you come through?
At this point, what are you doing? How'd you get to this guy? Like,
I'm outside Sony Studios and Universal giving beat CDs. I'm a nobody.
Got you.
Okay, I ain't got $1 to my name.
Big deal.
I got $5,000 Bank of America credit card that I'm paying $50 at a time because I can't afford nothing but Mickey D's. Mm-hmm. But I stand outside every single day, which I tell kids nowadays, man, y'all gotta hustle like that. Like there's something about that era that
100%.
that we were talking about that like just ain't around anymore. But long story short, Skid gets my beat CD. I used to burn 23 beats on every CD because of Michael Jordan. And number 23 was a record called Diddy Boppin' that he ended up choosing for Puff. Puff chose this. I get $1,500 for that production. Okay. And I think I made it. And then it took a couple more years.
Did that become a song that we know?
Yeah. I mean, you can go on Spotify.
It's still called Diddy Boppin'.
It's called Diddy Boppin', yeah. Puff opened my Twitter account with that song. Like he's like, yo, you ain't got a Twitter account. You gotta get on Twitter. I was like, what the fuck is Twitter? Put the thing, gets me on Twitter.
Hold up. You're skipping things. You met Puff. So how did
Puff
that go?
was well, I'm in the studio. I'm trying to give the recap for the people, so we're not here 3 hours.
No, we got to be here for a little bit.
But long story short, I'm in the studio at Daddy's house, and Skid is like, yo, come with me. And we go to Studio A, and the beat is just blasting. and they're playing the record.
On the bigs, and it sounded different to you for the first time hearing it
And
like
I'm
that.
like, did it bop? No, I'm over here doing my little dance. I'm
And
like,
did he sit there?
yeah, and I'm young as shit, bro. I got hair. I ain't got no hair no more. I got hair. He's there. He's like, yo, Playboy. Shout out to Puff, man. I listen, whatever's going
Just
on.
say what you gotta say.
But like, I used to want to be like this guy so bad. He was like, yo, what up, Playboy? You made this record? He played the rock loud. And he's like, and he starts dancing to the record. He's like, this is what I'm talking about, you know. You already seen the tapes in the back.
Of course.
Shit is a vibe.
Legendary.
It was legendary, bro. Legendary. I gotta.
Okay, no, don't go away. So he's dancing to it.
He's dancing and.
Because a lot of these records, they get played, they get written to, they get even recorded and never come out.
Yeah.
So you don't know. You're just like, okay, you're just happy to be there.
But at the time, you know, the environment of producer, manager, and producers just wasn't a real thing, like all the way, you know, like, and so he was, I think he was just vibing and he like kept on like pointing, you know, I just like, now this is bringing flashback shit. But he was just vibing with the record and, you know, to his credit, he saw something, he's like, he remembered connecting me and told Skid like, yo, stay in touch with him. And years of like going back and forth on records and ideas and businesses and things like that throughout the years. But that ultimately led me to also enter the music business as a producer, then became a producer manager.
That was a pivotal moment. Because that brought you in on a high level. You're Diddy's producer to a certain extent.
Yeah. And then I met some guys locally in Miami who called the Monsters and Strangers.
Okay, what year is this? Let's keep the
Yeah, bro, my years is all. This is like 07, 08. It's still early.
So you're about 21, 22.
Yeah. Shit, it might be a little earlier because I got to LA when I was like 21. So that was already like so much had passed before that. But long story short, became a producer, decided to start managing producers.
Right.
Found a group of producer-songwriters called the Monsters and Strangers from Miami. We moved to LA, started having tons of success with, you know, pop music and urban music. Ultimately moved to Canada.
Okay.
And kind of the same thing is like, I get to Canada because I was going through a divorce.
Okay.
And I say the story because I know you're Canadian, but I was divorced. I go to Canada for the Toronto Film Festival.
Okay.
And I decide to stay. I get an apartment right on King Street.
Yeah, Toronto was hot.
Toronto's hot. Toronto's hot.
06, 07.
King Street on the right day
Yeah.
is a problem.
No, of course. Of course.
But I get there and I honestly didn't know what to do. And I meet Matthew Burnett and Jordan Evans, who were, you know, found Daniel and also produced for Drake and all this stuff. And I felt like, yo, these guys are the greatest talent I've heard in a very long time. They just had a vibe to them. And they were the ones that got me going and saying, like, maybe I could do something in Canada. And so I created a song camp called Merge,
Okay.
where I decided to bring the best of Canada, the best of the US, and the best of the UK. And that became a mega slam. Like, we literally, I think we did 20 records out of that camp, and you know, something like 15 or 16 were placed and became like Chris Brown records and all kind of hits.
Were you still producing or just managing now?
At this point, I'm managing. Like, I'm producing. I want to give I was producing in the sense I always have guided records, but I wasn't spending the hours on the MPC or programming.
But you were very young, so you pivoted fast. Like you went from producer to manager pretty quickly. Because we're not forgetting, you've seen that magazine with the CEOs on it.
But it was also, you know what it was, and I'm keep it 100 with you. It was a fear. Okay. Because I had come from nothing, and I felt like I was finally achieving something, and I was afraid I was gonna fuck it up. I don't know if I could curse in this. I was gonna mess it up, but I was afraid of it, and it took me 24 years of career to understand that later on. Because I never truly I've always been a creative. I've always led. Like, I've always made artists and producers successful through my guidance creatively, right? Not beyond just like a business deal, but creatively understanding how to build their brand, how to like add a commentary to a record. But I was like so scared at the time because I was like, yo, I'm in this place that I said, well, you know what? Let me get some talent, because if they mess it up, it's their fault.
Correct.
And it was a big sad. It took me a while to accept that. But through the journey of that, went to Canada, ended up, you know, years later also running Rock Nation, executive vice president of Rock Nation. And then I come to Miami like right as the heat is
The
going.
guy's just jumping over everything. So you meet Jay-Z back in the day. You throw a CD at him. How do you reconnect with that camp and then actually work? Did you work directly with Jay-Z?
Yeah. So I work with Tata, who was the head of the music company, and obviously Jay, would come into the meetings and have directive.
Universal put you in charge of Canada.
Yeah, I started working out of Universal Canada. I signed the first. So this is the craziest thing, and this is how I tell people, also like, from a motivational point of view, like, don't quit on yourself, and always like, just learn to pay attention to the environment and the opportunity, because sometimes it's right in front of you and you miss it.
Right.
And for me, when I got to Canada, and I wasn't working at Universal yet or anything, some guy who I had met in church years ago, who was a Christian reggaeton artist, like I'm talking about like 15 years before, hits me. He's like, "Yo, I just saw that you moved to Toronto. I'm here with my wife. I'm Canadian. Can I take you out for lunch?" I took him out for lunch, and we were eating. And he's like, "Yo, I'm also an artist, like, and I'm trying to do my thing. And can I show you some music?" And I was like, "Yo, like, to be honest, I just got here. I'm going through some personal stuff. Like, I either got to be your friend for real, or you're like a industry friend, which is cool too. But like, I just want to be real with you."
Right.
So I told him that, and he's like, no, I want to be your friend. I want to be a blessing. He helped me move into my one little apartment after having a freaking place in LA. And one day he's like, "Yo, I know you told me that, but like, can I pick you up to play your record?" And I was like, "Oh my God, dog." I'm like, "All right, pick me up." And he plays me this song called Dancing Kizomba, bro. I don't even know what Dancing Kizomba meant.
Right.
But the beat, I had never heard a beat like this, and the melodies were so good. And he was pitching it to me to send it to Beaver. And I heard the record, and I was playing it, and I was like, "Holy, this thing is really good." And I didn't say anything. But then my business partner, who had been my partner my whole career, I had to convince him to move to Canada with me.
Okay.
And so he had just landed in Canada like the week after. And I'm like, "Yo, Ree," I call him Ree, "you gotta hear this song." And he's like, "Bro, come on, man, we just got here." And I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna have this guy pick us up." And so I picked him up. I didn't say nothing. I'm like, "Oh, take us to go meet the producer who did that record." And we're both sitting behind in the back of his car, because it's him and his wife, and he plays this song. And I just hear the record, and I look at Ivan. I'm just worried. And Ivan's like bumping. I'm like, "Oh, we got a hit." So then I go to Universal. First week at Universal, bro. And I'm like, how am I gonna get all these non-Spanish speaking people to understand what Dancing Kizomba is? So I tell Ivan, I'm like, "Yo, can you go on YouTube and figure out if we can find some sexy videos of a woman dancing Kizomba?" And we found the videos of this girl, like, I think she was Ecuadorian, dancing Kizomba like you. I'm like, "Give me that video, put the song under it." So when I went to my first A&R meeting, bro,
Wow.
and I played this thing, and everybody's like, "You see all this? All Canadian guys don't know what to do with their bodies." Long story short, I signed this record. I do it in English and Spanish, and the song explodes, bro. Massive platinum record.
He kept it under his, like, he kept the record. He did himself.
Yeah, well, no, I signed it to Universal, but we blow up this song.
I just mean he didn't give it to Bieber. Or
No. I signed him. I lent him the clothes for the photo shoot of the cover.
Okay.
His name is Alex Vellis. This song explodes in Canada, explodes in the US. We get like big remixes, and then we do an album, and it's going really, really well. And that was kind of like my start to the Canadian music career, Yeah. And then I started to play around with what the company meant and how it meant to the culture, and how we brought producers in, and how we did deals. And we did a deal with Boy Wonder, and I signed these guys called New City, and I brought Timbaland, and I found this producer from Argentina in LA called Fede Vimver, who hadn't produced any other record, to produce New City, who today is a multi-Grammy award-winning producer who did Coldplay, who did Kanye.
Nice.
But I found them through signing this like pop band that I partnered with Gary and Timbo. Long story short, I was loving Canada, both as a human single in Toronto.
What other big artists did you work with, though? Any notable big, like...
Alessia Cara, Shawn Mendes, worked with The Weeknd and Sal, as we've spoken before. And shout out to Canada, because Canada gave me a home when I didn't have one after a divorce, and it gave me an opportunity to really showcase the talent in Canada, being an American kid. because that ain't normal. Like, you know, usually people are like, you ain't from here. Like, you don't get us, you don't understand us. And I gotta say, to this day, like some of my best friends are Canadian, because I found like they kind of needed the American in me to push them over the edge, but they also helped me understand that it was a lot more than just like hustling. Like it was like all my Canadian friends truly enjoy their life, and shout out to Canada, shout out to you. You know what I mean? And then long story short, went to New York, got a chance to work, and it's funny because I ended up years later buying a Maybach and having a driver, and I remember putting the story. It's on my Instagram somewhere. I put the story, and Lenny commented like, "Damn, I should have done the deal with you before. I need a Maybach." Shout out to Lenny.
How did Jay-Z come back into the fold?
Oh, so I'm in Miami, and I meet Tai and this guy named Benny, and they're just like, "Yo, we need someone like you. We need someone to come in and like really rile up, someone who understands music and gets like what's happening culturally." And we have like they had just lost Romeo Santos, who was the head of Rock Nation Latin as well, and they brought me in. They made me an offer I couldn't refuse, and I started to work with them, and then I came to Miami and rebuilt like what I thought would be the Rock Nation of Latin music, and I built this company called Neon 16, and went on like the biggest run with Latin music and made television shows, and then started managing Will Smith.
But did you ever get the chance to tell Jay, yo, that was me that threw that CD at you?
Oh yeah. Well, and I definitely told Lenny. He just laughed. Actually, we were at the Rock
The brunch?
at the brunch,
Yeah.
and I went to go introduce him to Tainy, and we talked a little bit, and I was like, yo, it's crazy, because I had been on the elevator with him a bunch of times, and like, he had come into the board meetings and all this stuff, but it was like the one chance I was like, I'm gonna tell him now, because it was like the perfect, because we were talking about Tainy and other things, and I told him, and he was like, the shit must have been good. That's just like, yo, I had one time I'm working with Master P, and which was like a dream, right? And you know how as a producer, you always ask like, so we were with the Monsters and Strangers, Master P's there, and you always ask like, all right, so what kind of record you want? A hit? Ain't nobody want nothing else with a hit. So give me a motherfucking hit. I was like, that's so Master P. I loved it.
Wow.
Bro, I've gotten a chance to do things in my life that I look back now that I'm in my retirement stage of like, I can't believe, bro. I can't believe I got to go to Will Smith and do the bad boys. Like.
Right. So Will Smith hit you up at one point in his career. Did you get in touch with him?
4 years ago.
Okay, so that was after the Chris Rock.
After the Chris Rock thing, and
why come to you? Like you're not a fit, like you're actor, like an actor manager. So how does that work?
honestly, the beauty of life, bro. I didn't know anybody in the Will Smith camp, but I had a TV production company, and I was meeting with his team in TV and production, and ultimately met Miguel, who manages the whole family.
Right.
And long story short, they were in Miami. We had a talk of like an hour, like me and you, and we shared ideas. And he was sharing projects and things that he was going. And I was just like super honest with him on my thoughts on what that I thought it would be and what not. And one of the things he asked me was like, "Yo, J Balvin, who you know, who I know, and it's a friend, said he asked me to do this Coachella thing, and I turned it down over and over. And I was like, why don't we do it? I think that could be cool." And it was like in conversation, like loosely, but he must have liked what I said.
Right.
And long story short, we've built an amazing friendship.
So he came to you, was like, "I want you to manage me."
Yeah.
That's dope.
And
Will Smith's a legend. Like, come on,
we ultimately made
we all grew up on Will Smith.
Yeah, we ultimately did management and built some businesses. But honestly, at the core, I've met a lot of major celebrities.
Right.
I would say no one impacted my life as much as that man. And I'll take that and Tommy Mottola. Tommy and Will, I would say, like, have been the most instrumental humans in my life to beyond career to get me to where I am.
Did you work with Tommy Boy ever?
Tommy Boy Records or Tommy Mottola?
The record company.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I actually, one of my like third beat was sold to Tommy Boy Records.
Okay.
But Tommy Mottola, at the time was the CEO of Sony.
Right.
And had signed everything. And
he had Mariah and yeah.
Tommy till this day is my partner. I get the opportunity to direct his documentary, which I'm so excited for it to come out. But Tommy is like dad,
That's amazing. So we skipped over a lot of stuff as far as the, growing up part. I'm going to go back, rewind a bit. What was your first car? So I know in high school, what were you doing to get money, basically, to get your first car? What was your first job, basically?
I graduated middle school, I entered high school, and I started selling door-to-door direct TV, satellite, trying to get you satellite. Then I go to Comcast. Then I started working at Expedia.
And those are commission-based, so you got to go
Commission,
hard,
I was
right?
selling.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
I get to Expedia at the call center, and I bought my first car was a Mazda 626,
Okay.
which the starter didn't work. And this is the era where you go to the quinceañeras. So I would go to everyone's 15s, and I would like come out with the suit, and I'd try to get some girl in the car wouldn't start, and I had to be outside of the thing, hitting the starter so it could turn on. I had a little PlayStation connected to the speakers because I had no radio.
How old were you?
Oh man, I must have been like 16 years old, 17 years old. I always loved, so my dad was a race car driver. He raced rally.
Okay.
So I grew up since, I mean, the picture on my phone, wherever it's at, it's like, you know, me in the track as a, like, as a 4-year-old.
You're going to share that, we're going to throw it
You
up,
know?
right?
And I've always loved cars, always wanted Porsches, and I always wanted rally cars and the old Peugeots, and I just didn't have the money. So I like went through Mazdas, then went through Mitsubishi Eclipse. And then when I started to make some real money, I got my first E-Class Mercedes. Yeah, which then I freaking destroyed in a car accident. And then I was on the road. And so actually after that, I was on the road quite a lot.
And I know how that is. So I
and
get
then
it.
I
You don't need a
didn't really
car.
have any cars.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really until about, well, in between, you know, I've always had a G-Wagon. Then I had a Maybach. I've had like 3 Maybachs.
57s?
Yeah.
Okay. S or just the regular one?
No, the S.
Okay. Big difference, by the way.
Yeah. So I've had the Maybachs throughout, different tones, and then ultimately G-Wagons. And then it wasn't until like, I want to say 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when I was like, all right, I'm settled in Miami. I got a daughter. I got a wife. I'm going to go do what I always wanted to do. And I started going and picking up the vintage Porsches I've always wanted. I picked up the 190E 2.3. I started to like really handpick some hand cars, Ferraris, things that I wanted to collect.
They're all out here?
They're all out here. And I'm a driver. I drive.
Me
you
too.
know? I rip it. I don't like showroom beauties.
No.
Those can't be in my collection.
Right.
I always tell people I ain't 60 yet. When I'm 60, I get it.
I'm going to still be driving. I'll go.
Yeah, but right now I'm ripping it.
I got you. So we're going to have to pull up on you if you don't mind. I'm going to see some cars, just like you pulled up over here.
Yeah, please.
But how many cars you got? And this doesn't count. This is different. This was like a mission.
I
Personal
got
collection.
something like 12, 13 cars.
Okay.
Yeah,
And they're
yeah.
all like hand-picked pieces you always wanted.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, I have like, I went scouting.
I saw the G-Wagon you pulled up in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the stronger than the 1980s.
You know, that's the collab. It's like they did the old school black grill and all that, just like the old ones. Yep.
Yeah, so for one of 460.
Yeah.
I got the 2 in Miami here. I got one for me, one for my best friend. Yeah, I've been blessed. AMG, about 3 years ago, I take a trip to Germany, and you know, I took my father, and when I showed up to the AMG factory, they had changed the flags of the factory to the Colombian flag.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And for my father, it was like he cried. It was like it was a moment.
Okay, we got to rewind once again. We're gonna get back to this moment. So,
And-
how do you get involved with AMG? How do you get involved with cars when you're doing the music stuff officially? Now you're doing official things with cars. How did that happen? And was Mercedes your first collab, like sponsorship?
So I had done other things with like, as brand ambassador, I had done things before with Lexus. I had done things like as I travel and depending on the kind of things that I was doing, especially when I got to Miami.
Yeah.
Like when I got to Miami was when there was a difference between me being the executive behind the scenes to being now this star, like with the TV show, with all these things. So we had done a couple things. And actually, in the TV show was the first deal I did with, because you see me pull up in the Maybach. It was the first deal I had done with Mercedes, but that was locally with Mercedes.
Yeah.
And then that evolved because Will I Am is a Mercedes ambassador and collaborator.
He did the collab car. Yeah.
And Will asked me, we were doing Art Basel, and Will was premiering his new collaboration car that he had done for Lewis Hamilton, and I forgot the name of the car right now.
Yeah. Based on the GT.
Yeah, exactly, based on the GT that he designed.
The G-Wagon front.
There you go.
with the.
I'm with the right guy with that. What am I trying to
And I
pretend here?
actually met Will.i.am 2006. Had dinner with him at Sheikh Abdullah Al Khalifa's palace in Bahrain. That's a side note. Keep going.
So Will's a really close friend of mine, and he asked me if I could interview him for this event, and I'll share those pictures. You can post them. So
And he was releasing the car at that point.
he was
That's
releasing the
doing a
car.
press
So
for it? Okay.
so all the Mercedes team was in Miami, like the core team, and I do this interview on him, like how you and I are doing it. And then the Mercedes team and my friend Philip at the time as well came and was like, yo, like, this is amazing. We got to do more. And then I went to Germany and they literally hosted us like kings, man. They changed the flags. They gave us a car. They gave me a car to travel all throughout Europe.
Okay.
And then it became like, yo, like we want you as part of the family. And so we worked it out and then became essentially an AMG ambassador. And they flew me to the event when they released the GTXX. They gave me a GT63 Pro when I was on tour with Will in Europe. So I drove everywhere instead of going on the tour of the plane.
The best.
Oh, the best.
250 on the Autobahn all day.
Bro, not allowed to say, but I hit 270. Yeah, long story short, now I have a really great relationship. And so,
Shout out to AMG, man.
bro, if you've never been in this, and since I'm sharing this with my channel too, if you ain't never been in this place and you live in Miami, you losing out, bro.
So tell me
This is
about
insane.
how did you first and when did you first hear about Patina Collective? Because you're tuned in, so I'm sure you've seen. It's been 5 years we're doing that, right?
I definitely caught a video first
Okay.
on one of the cars.
The algorithm hit you.
The algorithm, because I was already checking out Mercedes stuff. So like I popped in one, and then my
Do you remember what it was? Because it matters. I mean, was it like a feature? Was it a vlog?
it wasn't even one of you guys. It was somebody else's video interviewing you and your partner
Gotcha.
about the collection.
All right.
But you didn't have the museum yet.
No, we're in the showroom.
You're in the showroom.
Yes.
And you're going around and you're showing, and I'm like, and you start telling the story on how you guys got together and explaining the cars, and I was like, yo, these guys got the craziest. But you didn't have the museum. I knew that for sure because I remember looking to be like, yo, how do I like go check out these cars? And then, I just stayed up on the channel. My partner then hits me and is like, yo, they're having an Art Basel event. You want to come through? And we went to your Art Basel event and checked out that vibe.
Recently.
That's where where we met the first time. And then I came with you, bro, and shit, it's crazy.
So how'd you feel like actually pulling up and seeing? Because I know you've seen a lot. Like you told me yourself, I've seen a lot.
Yeah.
And you've been to Mercedes factories and all that.
Yeah, and I've been to I own the Mercedes Museum. The 2 times I've done it just by myself. They shut the place down.
Wow.
Like, really good.
We got to get that when we go.
Oh, I already told you, it's VIP all the way when you come. I will, like, we will shut it down.
We got to. But so how'd you feel coming in here after? Because this is a whole different dimension.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what I thought was, like, super thoughtful, and this is where you and I connected so much, is there's this thing about car guys where as car guys, sometimes you feel like, yo, you should know these things.
Right.
And the truth is that there's tons of people who love cars who are not going to know every freaking detail.
Can't know certain things.
And when you go to a golf course and you see these cars, like, you could take a picture, but there's really no emotional attachment to this. And when we walked in here and it's like, you see this, you see like the collection of rims, you understand. And then you walk really inside and you've curated a collection. It's not just the car, it's the presentation and the reason why you got it and how well you know the cars. All that together to me was like, this is A++, bro. Plus you got cars that are just like,
Of course.
I'm just trying to come over here and hang out.
No, thank you.
Just like turn on the car at least. Smell the fumes.
And shout out to the whole team. We couldn't do it without the team. Of course, Daniel, Bernard, Julio. This whole thing's it's a crazy, it's like a Swiss watch the way we got it running. But like you see, we take our time. It's not just about the cars, it's about the background. We do deep dives on the tuners and the men that were behind these and the ideas, how they got the ideas to do. Like last trip, you came, we can only say so much in one sitting, right? Each one has its own, like, the reason why he did the BB Magic top, because he wanted to have his kids in the back, and the top was ballooning in his Porsche when he was doing 200. And so you got to watch the documentaries, you got to watch. So that's why it's a whole ecosystem that we got. And I knew when you followed, because I remember you followed my page and I followed you back on my personal page, and I had no indication what you did because I only saw watches.
Yeah.
So I was watching, your stuff, and then I saw you went to Japan and you got the Zenith. I think it was a 101.
Yeah,
Yeah. So they presented him. We're gonna get to the watch stuff in a minute, but when I saw you get the hat, I'm like, that's not just a regular hat anybody can just get.
Yeah.
You can't just go, like, you knew, you're tapped in, you know?
Yeah.
I just had the feeling like this guy has a little more. And then when we started talking, you're like, oh, I know I'm brand ambassador. And then coming here and seeing all this at once, I know that not everybody can understand the depth of how impossible this is. Not even rare. It's just impossible for this to happen. And we did it, you know, in a short amount of time too.
Bro, it's hard because let me tell you, I search for cars day in and day out like it's my obsession. Right? I was searching for cars on the way here.
Yeah.
And to find them, to negotiate them, to understand them, to bring them, to restore them, to then do the story behind it, bro.
Yeah, we're buying everything blindly, trusting.
And to, at the level that you've done it, with the level of cars, like,
Thank you, man. I
my
appreciate
guy,
it, man.
dogs. My guy.
Of course. So when you went from the music to the watches, how did you pivot? What was the pivot there, and what made you do that?
So, spend years, 24 years in the entertainment business, and I had reached the point where I felt like, yo, I had accomplished more than I've ever dreamed, right? Plaques and records and Grammy and managing Will and producing TV and films, and I felt that I didn't have a hobby. I didn't have something for me. All I did was work. All I did was tour. All I did was create in the space that is my work. And one of my guys in the content team was like, yo, you got the craziest watch collection. Because that's the thing. I had always been collecting watches. And I had always collected cars, even if it was one or two. But I always, like, this was my passion. I would travel around for car-related things. And he was like, why don't you just start doing content on watches? And just like for the fuck of it, just like to do it. And so I started doing it. And like maybe a month after I started doing it, Adam Golden from Menta Watches rents one of my offices in the building to put his offices, his boutique. And he's like the god of vintage watches.
Okay.
And during that same time, he's like, yo, why don't you come to this event I'm having? And when I go to the event, bro, I've been to a lot of events. But I had been watching so much YouTube about watches, and I had seen all these guys, and it's like all of a sudden seeing all these guys in the same room, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And like I couldn't believe
I watch all of them, so I know exactly.
Yeah, so I was like, yo, Mike New was here, and this and that, and I was like, crazy, Roman Sharp. And I just started to say, you know what, I'm gonna go down this route. I'm gonna start creating content. I'm gonna start building now. I'm gonna start just playing in this environment. And very quickly, I built a lot of influence and became GQ Collector of the Year. Wow. And before I knew it, I was like in depth in the watch business, not really truly understanding what I was doing in it, right? Like, cause I don't sell watches. I was kind of doing content, but I'm not a watch influencer. Right. And it was then that I was like, all right, how do I merge this with cars? Because it's the only way I'm gonna really love it all the way. And it's when we created 0 to 60, which is our brand, our lifestyle brand at the intersection of automotive and watches. And then it started to be like, okay, we created the Miami Watch Club, and then we started building the retail business and doing collaboration watches, and now, you know, opening our first coffee shop members club in Design District in August, and then doing this massive car and watch event, which you guys are participating. I'm so excited. Time to Drive Festival.
Love that.
Time to Drive Fest. You can go get some info.
Yeah, in November.
November 7th and 8th. This is the first announcement. We haven't even announced it anywhere else. But
Wynwood, Miami.
Wynwood, Miami.
Patina boys will be in the building, and of course, some legendary cars. Can we say?
Insane. Yeah, say some cars.
Okay, guys, this was cool about this. So you guys seen us review these cars, and now here they are in the flesh in Miami. If you want to go see them, the Virgil, the one that looks like a ceramic sculpture.
Yeah.
Yes, rest in peace, Virgil, will be on site, and also the Maybach from Otis. This is a legendary car that we might have to buy off the homie, but we're gonna see. But tell us about this watch. What are you wearing today? This is a nice little watch.
So this is a FP Journe Elegant.
Okay.
So FP Journe is considered one of the best watchmakers in the business. And he usually makes highly complicated watches, but very much like the tagline is, you know, I invented it and I built it. Like I really did it myself. And so I think that that's the amazing part of him. But he wanted to take a quartz watch and put his own spin to it. So this is a highly complicated quartz watch. And what that means is like this watch, if I lay it down, it'll stop and it'll remember how much time has passed. And when I pick it back up, it'll reset itself.
That's crazy.
You know, these watches now, in anything Journe in the aftermarket is going
Journe is crazy.
Is going crazy. But this is like a piece that I originally bought before I ever knew who Journe was. because it was my tour watch. I would put a black band on this and nobody knew what this was.
I love that.
You know, and so mine has all the scratches and beats because I actually enjoyed it. And now, you know, now I collect tons of other Jordans, but this particular one is still my favorite.
I love that. So I want to talk about you and the music industry before we go totally away from it.
Yeah.
Tell us some of the wildest stories that you can talk about as far as like dealing with artists. Who's the craziest artist you ever met? The weirdest situations, whatever you want to share with the people, because there's a lot of behind the scenes, like you say. These are the guys that see everything that people don't really see per se, right? So anything crazy you want to talk about dealing with all these big people like Diddy, Jay-Z? How did you meet certain artists? Anything that comes to mind, you know, that sticks out.
I'll give you two reference stories. So one of the stories I think people can't understand nowadays because radio doesn't have as much of an impact and influence as it did back in the day. But back in the day, the influencers of the music industry were the DJs. They control whether you were popping or not. And so the DJs got a lot of clout. And therefore, these companies will do these DJ conventions where they fly all these DJs out, give them money,
Right.
and pay for their free vacation, and all of a sudden present artists throughout the clubs. And as we were doing that, these DJs sometimes didn't give a crap. Like, they just truly didn't care. And I'll never forget, we're in the Miami DJ convention, and there's a DJ, I'm not going to mention his name, but Universal presents Nelly for the first time. And this man says, he takes a pile of money, he says, "Get off the stage, you got a woman's name." And they're like cracking on Nelly, bro. Nelly's trying to perform, he can't perform, bro. They're cracking on Nelly. Nelly goes to become a mega multi-platinum artist.
Biggest.
But that was the environment, man. Like, when people look at some of the things that have come out, and I don't endorse any of the things that are negative on women. I grew up on an all-girls home. My mom raised me to be a different kind of man. But I also think people need to understand the environment that we were living. We were living in an environment where the power shift, the money, and also the access, people didn't have the access that they have today. So if you think people do crazy things today to go meet a superstar, in those times they would do stupid things to go meet a superstar, you know? They would literally jump off buildings to meet superstars because you didn't have that access. You were watching Entourage on television, like hoping one day to go to LA and you would go to the restaurants. Nowadays, you see the restaurant like in your Instagram, you see your celebrity, but that wasn't the case. Like, if you go back to that era and like how NSYNC and these people were shut down cities because of how many people. So people have to understand that it was just a different era. It's not right or wrong. I don't want to get into none of that stuff because I don't condone bad behavior. But it was just a different era. And so shit was just crazy. And in hip hop,
Tell me something.
crazy. It was nuts.
Give me one more story. Something that just sticks out. You can't.
I'll give you a story about a song. And I think this goes to talk to those that love music and how sometimes you got to fight for a record.
Okay.
There's a record called One Day that's Dua Lipa, Bad Bunny, J Balvin, and Tainy.
Okay.
And it's a record we produced that took forever, bro. We go to the studio in LA and Tory Lanez, I've never seen this, by the way. He might be the most legendary songwriter. We play some music and he's like, "Yo, put it in the booth." He goes and he lights a joint. And by the time he finishes the joint, he has written like 30 records. But like mumbling things, but bro, just insane. His melody work was insane. He writes on this record, like, "One day you'll love me again." And I was like, oh my God. I get back and I'm like, yo, this record needs to go to Rihanna. And so we send it off to Rihanna. They like the record, but she's busy touring. We send it first to Balvin. Balvin does the record. Then Balvin had said something in an interview. Rihanna didn't like it, so now Rihanna's not on the record. But now we got this Balvin verse that's really great. We have this Tory Lanez hook that's insane. I cut like, I don't know, 20 of the biggest, I'm exaggerating, 10 of the biggest pop stars in the world on this record. What? None of them sound good. All of a sudden, Dua Lipa cuts the record. I'm like, bro, I can't believe Dua Lipa cut this record. It's great. I fly to Chicago. Bunny's on a tour. This is, like right before COVID. So, he's not the superstar he is today. He's just bubbling. Right. We play him the record. He's like, yo, I'm going to send it back. He sends back a verse. So now I got a Bunny record with Balvin and this. We go, COVID hits. Nobody wants to release the record. And I'm fighting for the record. I'm trying everything I get, like, to push this record out. finally Dua Lipa, because she realizes, shit, I'm gonna be in COVID, this is not gonna happen, says, all right, her manager at the time was just a straight asshole. And he finally agrees to release the record. I'm like, amazing. I go tell now all the other artists. Bunny's like, nah, I don't sound like that anymore. I don't want to do the record anymore.
Oh my God.
Bro, so another 3 months convincing Bunny to try to put out the record. Then it was like, well, we can't shoot a video for the record because, and at the time, Money Heist was super popular on Netflix. So I call Ursula, who plays the place, and I'm like, can we do the video? But then, like, Balvin was super into that idea. The rest of the artists were not into the idea. Bro, it took 2.5 years.
Oh my God.
With blood, sweat, and tears.
And that's how good this record was. It stayed relevant.
And we put the record out, and it was a massive. I mean, it just reached 1 billion streams.
What's it called?
It's called One Day, Un Dia.
Un Dia. We got to check that out.
But it's how long it took us to make that record. And that's honestly the story of my career. And if I can put it in a nutshell, it was like, the perseverance to not give up when everything told me that it was okay to give up. Like any other person would have been like, okay, the song didn't happen. It is what it is.
Right.
And I didn't give up. People talk shit. I didn't give up. I was homeless getting pissed on. I didn't give up.
Right.
Like shit got hard financially. I didn't give up. I got a divorce. I didn't give up. Like I got cancer. Didn't give up. Like it was like consistently pushing to exceed. And honestly, that's to me what I want to bring to the car and the watch world is one, unity. Because I realize in the car world, it's very much like the music world. It's a pool full of sharks.
Yep.
And everybody's out for the deal. Mm-hmm. But there's an opportunity to be united and do some cool stuff together. And I'm doing that in the watch world. And I think Time to Drive is what's going to do that here.
I'm excited to be a part of the event and then hopefully many more. And your story is incredible. A lot to cover. What about these artists? Because now with everything that's happening, in America and the climate, with everything that's been going on, recently, the Latin community in America, and then to see at the same time, Bad Bunny be one of the biggest artists in the world, do the Super Bowl. How does that feel for you to see that for your people? And these are all people you've worked with, so it hits a little different, I'm sure.
It hits different because, I'll be honest, when we started Neon 16, what made us win was that I didn't come from the Latin world.
Okay.
So I was doing things with a producer, with Tainy, that no other artist was doing in the business, only out of just lack of knowledge, lack of truly understanding the Latin music industry. So I was taking him to do NFL halftime show. I was taking him to do the VMAs. I was taking him to do the stuff that I would do with an American artist.
Right.
So to the Latin world, I was like, oh, you guys are the coolest because you're breaking ground. You're doing it. At the same time, Balvin was doing it and Bunny was just starting to creep up. And I remember when the structure in the urban side of the business was not that. And so when we were able to break it out to become what it became, and to now see what Bunny and his team and Noah and like so many amazing artists have done, it's incredible. And to see him at the top of the business, to me, is like Latin music has something that is very unique that no one else could copy, maybe other than Afrobeat, which is it's extremely hard to make rhythmic hit records.
Right.
Right? You can make a low and a ballad and kind of sub-ballad, and you can make a high-tempo dance record. Finding that nice rhythm where your people are actually moving to your song in a dance floor consistently is extremely hard. Latin music does that blindly. And it's why it works globally, because you don't have to speak the language to move. You don't have to speak the language to get that rhythm. Afrobeat has that, but it's a little bit slower. And so, if you don't have that energy, you don't have the same, you have a sexiness to it, but you don't have the energy.
Right.
Where Latin music just brings that energy, and it can merge within all sounds of Latin music while keeping the same rhythm. So I find that to be amazing of where the music is at today.
Yes. And what was your involvement with guys like J Balvin, guys like Anuel, Karol G? What was your involvement with them? Did you sign them? Did you manage?
Balvin was a longtime collaborator where we did so many songs together from, every crazy idea I had, Balvin said yes to. Shout out to Balvin, right? Because I don't think people give him enough credit for what he did for Latin music, but every crazy idea I had, he did. Karol G, so I signed the Anuel Karol G song Secreto. That was my first signing at Rock Nation and signed that to publishing. And with the majority of the rest of the artists was really being a part of the music. We made the album for Caliucci that ultimately broke Caliucci.
Man.
We made the first Selena Gomez Spanish album, which gave her first Grammy nomination ever. We obviously have done Rao and You know, Alvaro Diaz, who's now an amazing artist. We had signed and we built the career and helped part of that process. One of the best, most talented people in the world. And I think that has been the key to my success, is that I always thought about the music and the story behind that music. And that's really been what I try to teach everybody, is that, and I say this on the TV show that I know you just saw on Netflix.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that.
There's a lot of talented people. There's very few artists.
Right.
Artists have to want to say something.
True.
They have to want to express an emotion. And then is the marketing. And the marketing is the points of connectivity, right? Like, people think that you should just like my music because you like it. And the truth is, like, how many humans do you hang out with like that?
Right.
You hang out and we have things to talk about because we like music, we might like watches, we like cars.
Right.
Those are 3 points of connectivity. So if I was marketing, say, you as an artist, I would focus on those 3 things. And I would make content around it. I would make music around it. I would involve you in events that are about it. I would put you in car magazines instead of just music magazines. And that was my kind of creative strategy that worked every single time.
It's like an organic 360.
Build the human emotions.
Scope.
We're humans.
Yeah.
People forget that. You got to connect with people on an emotional level.
So tell me about the Netflix show. How did that happen?
So that's another one that I fought for. Like, so I was in COVID, and actually the week before everything went to shut down, I was in LA, and Paramount Pictures played me a skit version of the SpongeBob movie. Okay. And they wanted us to do a remix of a theme song so they can put it up on advertisement. And when I left, I said, I want to do the whole soundtrack. One day I'm going to have a kid. I don't have a kid yet. One day I'm going to have a kid, and I want my kid to know that dad worked on SpongeBob. And I called Paramount back and I said, hey, listen, shout out to Ariel if you're listening, because she was the head of music and she really worked. But I said, hey, I'll only do it if we do the whole soundtrack. And she said, we've never done that. And I said, well, that's the only way I'll do it. And I want my logo to be designed in SpongeBob letters and to be next to your Paramount logo and the Nickelodeon logo. She's like, there's no shot. I'm like, well, it's okay. I flew to Mexico for the first ever Spotify Awards. Got COVID there for sure. They didn't know what it was. I was struggling. Came back to Miami, and when I got back, she said, hey, I got it done.
Wow.
The album's yours, and you got your logo.
Ariel.
And so we got to do that SpongeBob soundtrack. And during that time in LA, that week, I took a bunch of meetings with TV producers. And one of them said, hey, you're really good at this, but just go for low-hanging fruit, create a music show. And so I wrote this show that week, which was the week that Kobe passed away.
Wow. Rest in peace, Kobe.
Rest in peace, Kobe. And I called it Versus.
Yes. And
I started shopping this show around. HBO picks it up, but then Timbo and Swiss Beats come up with Versus, and I was like, God damn it. So I developed the show all the way through almost the end of 22. And they're like, listen, we're not going to be able to do this show until 24. And I said, guys, but Netflix is going to come up with another show and they're going to beat us. And so I ended up taking the show. My agent was super pissed from HBO. And I didn't know anybody at Netflix, but I remember a friend of mine who acted on a Netflix show, on a Disney show. And he remembered telling me that he knew somebody at Netflix Mexico. So I called the guy, call him, tell him about the show. I send him the thing. He says, I like this show. I'll make you a deal. If you can secure the judges by the end of the month, I'll greenlight your show. I started calling Rao and all the artists, and I secured everybody. And I put the 4 judges in front of Netflix. Wow. And Netflix signed on the deal. And then they did all the testing. And then they're like, here's the thing. We don't have a bad guy. And we would like you to be the bad guy. And I'm like, but I'm not the bad guy. The whole point of the show is that it's very real. And they're like, yeah, but without that, there's no show. And I ended up producing the show, being the main character of the show.
With the new name.
And ultimately, bro, it was the best, worst experience of my life. It was incredible to do, a $15 million show as your first show. But producing the show and acting and being the bad guy and getting the temperaments and the emotions of the artist, it got me sick. And I ultimately, when they came knocking for season 2, I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm good. Yeah. Okay. But it got me into the TV business, and I went on to produce multiple other shows.
If you guys want to watch it, it's on Netflix right now. What's it called?
It's called The Signing.
The signing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I watched it. It was great. I'm still watching. I'm not done, but you can see our guy in action right here and see what it's all about, man.
Ripping some contracts.
Yeah. I love it, man. So the journey's been crazy.
Yeah.
Now this is what we're doing now.
0 to 60.
All right, 0 to 60.
Time to drive.
Okay. Time to drive coming up November. So if you guys are around and want to be, if you're attending, you can hit up our. How do they get? How do they participate in this event?
So, Time to Drive Fest, give it to you real clear. The best car and watch festival in the game, the Coachella of cars and watches. You can go to timetodrivefest.com and sign up. The global announcement will be July 15th. We have an activation called the Icons of Stuttgart with over 60 of the best Mercedes and Porsches, thanks to my man here as well, in an interactive experience. We recreated Le Mans and Daytona, and we're doing crazy cars. Outside, we have the best and craziest festival where you're going to get to see the best of Italian, the best of supercars, the best of Formula One and rally cars. Like, we're bringing the best of the best of the best. And then, if that wasn't enough, we brought 50 of the biggest watch brands, Jacob & Co., Oris, Grand Seiko, MB&F, Zenith, Chopard, all into this incredible hall, plus conversations, entertainment, music. It's going to be nuts, bro.
Incredible.
It's going to be nuts. So even thank you for giving me the platform. But I got a little gift for you. Because you know you're a car guy. I couldn't come in. So I called my boy Eric, and I said, we got to get my man a little Toyota tire.
I just seen this. So just earlier today, I seen this on the story. He had it on. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Because, of course, I seen many Toyota tires on many cars. But they actually did a watch. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate this. I'm dropping everything. But let's see what we got. It's right here. And it's a G-Shock?
It's a G-Shock collaboration with Bait and Toyo tires.
God. Stop it.
Wide dial, blue, the tire filling on it.
Look at this.
Bring you back to the time when it was so simple
Guys.
and it was so amazing. My guy.
Man, appreciate you so much.
Of course.
Lex Borrero, man, a legend in the flesh. And, you know, we're going to have to do another follow-up
Facts.
at his place and talk more cars.
And I got to go hear your story.
Oh, yeah.
People.
Of course. And, man, I love connecting with guys like this. We have a lot in common, and we came up in the same era, but we're able to affect the culture. And that's the most important thing for us, and because we're both artists in our own way. And when you guys see this interview, you know what I mean? We might be already have gone to his place. So look forward to the next meeting between us, Lex Borrero, Patina Collective, 0 to 60, the biggest in the game, Miami, worldwide. We're here. And stay tuned for more crazy stuff you can't see anywhere else than the Mecca.